Me like that was quick. We didn't even have any preamble. Hit the button, boom. We are straight in. Good morning, everybody.
Good
Hello.
morning.
Hello, Debbie.
Hello, Bertie.
Hello. Hello again.
Hello. We're talking about business tools that we
Yes,
use.
we are.
So the things and the tools that we use. And I just had a quick write down, and there are a lot. This is the things that I use kind of on a weekly basis. And I was like, oh my God, like, thank God for all these tools that enable me to be on time, well spelt, good grammar, take money, all of that stuff. So there are a lot of them out there.
There are, and that's it. It's one of those questions, isn't it? You get asked, like, "Oh, what tools do you use in your business?" So that's what we're going to go today. We're not going to hold back. We're going to give you everything. But before we do, I'm getting a bit pointy now. Let me put down my pencil. No one wants a pointy Friday.
Nobody wants
before we do, what were you going to say?
I was just agreeing. Nobody wants you to be pointy on a Friday.
Nobody wants me to be pointy on a Friday. So what we were going to say was about all of these tools. It's very easy when you start a business to think, right, I need this and I need that and I need a website and I've got to get good at this and all this other stuff. Like, just take it easy. So we're going to probably bombard you with a list today. What this doesn't mean, though, is go out and get all those tools because they're amazing and they're going to change your business. That's not the point. So we're going to talk to you the things that we use and why we use them. But equally, if you're just starting out, just using like the stock apps on your computer, like Notes and things like that, like they're the things that I use more than anything. So you don't necessarily need all these tools, but there'll be a point and you'll hit a wall with something and you'll think, what do I do? And that's when you really start to look at using the best tool for the job, essentially. And that's what we're getting at here. So there are some things that you can use that just aren't really fit for purpose. So yeah, Debbie, let's go straight in. What's your favorite tool of choice? What's in your bedside now? What do you go for? Your iPhone.
Well, just phones in general. Like, the best tool for businesses are our phones, aren't they?
They are indeed.
Amazing. We can run our businesses from beaches, from our bedrooms, from wherever we are. So the best thing you've got is your phone. And I think if you're like taking photos or you're taking videos, you don't need to go and get an SLR camera. You don't need to go and get a video camera. This thing is amazing. So just that in itself is great and can do so many things. It's got so many apps on there to kind of help you. So I think my favorite tool is my phone because it goes everywhere with me and it means that I can manage my business on the go and gives me freedom, which is great. Aside from that, I think some of the tools that kind of help me run my business the most are things like Squarespace, which I run my business from. It's a really good website. And so that enables me to get out there and put it out there to people. And the other thing for me is, how do I take money? How can I take those recurring payments and how can I make that payment process really simple? So I use GoCardless and Stripe and a thing called MemberSpace on the back of my website. And MemberSpace enables me to create pages that are locked down that only members can see. And I'm also using a thing called Kajabi in a new venture with Debbie and Emmy. So I think the first things are those kind of nuts and bolts stuff that you need to be seen, to take money, to create those products. And for me, the simplest things are best. I created a WordPress website with my very first business, and that frustrated the hell out of me because I didn't have the technical ability to be able to edit it myself. I could do some bits, but not all of it. And so Squarespace was revolutionary for me because it meant that I could take back control. So for me, it's those initial kind of foundational things that enable me to really run my business and bring that money in and kind of look professional.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the phone is a really good one. When you were talking about like the phone cameras, right? It's very easy when people start, right, okay, I'm going to record a podcast and I'll need loads of fancy equipment, or I'm going to start doing video podcasting or whatever. And yeah, people will go out and invest in other stuff. The cameras on your phone, even a phone that's like been out in the last 5 years, will like piss all over any webcam that is out there. Like, just use that. Just use that. It's really good. So yeah, you could be buying like a really fancy camera with a focal length, and then you've got to find a solution to mount it if you're going to be doing webinar. Like, just use your phone. Like, use your phone, record on there, and then if those things get traction, and if you start getting the views, etc., that you want, and if you do want to upgrade your equipment, absolutely fine. But you don't need all of that stuff to start. It's really, really important. So yeah, I think that's a good thing. So yeah, I was talking about the stock apps earlier. So probably just to take a step back, I'm a big believer now in cloud computing. So what that means is rather than having things stored on your computer, things are stored in the cloud. So tools I have used for years are Dropbox, and now I use Google Drive. And what that means is that all my files are accessible on Dropbox or Google Drive, no matter what computer device I'm using. Now, I'm very, very hot paranoid on security. Maybe we do a separate thing on that altogether. But because there's always the argument, oh, well, what if someone gets in and get all your files? Well, yeah, that's it. But you have to keep them secure. There's a whole password thing that we'll talk about separately. But by keeping things in the cloud, it can help you keep super organized, and it just means that anything's accessible anywhere. So as an example, I have been scanning every piece of paperwork that comes into my house, probably for about the last 10, 15 years, with that same scanner that I've owned all of this time. So it gets scanned in there instantly, uploaded to Dropbox, done, receipts the lot. If I need a receipt from 10 years ago, not that I would, but like there's been times where I've been in John Lewis and needed something, I can search it instantly, bang, and it's there. And that's the power of having everything in the cloud. You're laughing at me now, aren't you?
I mean, that's hardcore.
That's hard. But it's easy. It's a process. It's just a process of getting it. Like, it sounds hardcore now, but like anything comes to the door, I hit that button, and I don't have to do anything. It's in Dropbox. That's it. That's all I do.
That's kind of magical.
So once you've set that process up, it's really, really simple. It's all filed, and I just search for things in the same way that I talk about with email. You just search for something. So having things in the cloud, having your files in the cloud is really important. So Dropbox, you've got iCloud Drive, Google Drive, whichever one you choose, any of those things are really, really useful and can be a massive time saver for your business.
And you can have a mixture of both. I've got a bit of Google Drive and I've got a bit of Dropbox.
Yeah, me too.
And it depends what projects I'm working on with different people, where they go. And I do pay for both of those actually, because I've amassed so much stuff in that cloud that it's like actually easier for me to pay, I think, Google like £2 a month than have to go through and delete the stuff. So you can pay for extra storage, and it's pretty minimal. So we've kind of covered off the basic stuff of the business and like keeping that stuff in the cloud. And then I think other things that are really useful for me are things around like helping me create great content.
Yeah.
Helping my business get found on Google, essentially. So how do I do that marketing bit? So for me, Google Analytics is one of my favorite tools because it's free and it enables me to see who's coming to my website, where do they come from, what pages do they visit, who buys my products. And the more that I understand that information, the more I can think, well, I've spent a year on Pinterest, but it's not really driven any sales. So I'll do less of that and more of this thing that is driving sales. And I think the more that we can use some of these free analytical tools, and every single social media platform has them as well, the more we can understand what's working and what's not working with our business. And on that as well, there's a really great free tool called Grammarly, which I love.
Yeah.
Because even though I've got an English degree, I still get it wrong. And I write the way that I speak, which is, Portsmouth English, which isn't particularly, the Queen's English. And so using that free tool called Grammarly means that it spell checks what I'm writing on social media. It spell checks and grammar checks all of my emails, and it does all of my kind of Word documents or Google documents. So that free tool alone has saved me so much heartache of posting stuff out into the world and looking a bit shonky because I've got the grammar wrong. So if you're like me, and I think we all need a bit of a spell check, that has been an invaluable tool, just making sure that I've kind of got my words right.
Exactly. Yeah. I use Grammarly as well, so I can second that. And I did pay for it now. I've just got the free version. I'll probably be paying for it again. They do offers now and again. I just wait to do
sure.
50%. But Grammarly is fantastic. And it sits in your browser, or like, for example, it sits over when I'm in MailChimp, which is what I use to send out my emails. And it just sits over and above what you're just working on anyway. So it sits in the background. So very, very easy tool. Like what you've done with your hair, Debs, by the way. I'm not mentioning that. Oh, Lee said that as well.
I think it's just that I put it up in a scrunchie, fall asleep, and then when I wake up, it's tasseled. So that's hair tips 101 from me. Just put it up and go to sleep with it slightly wet, and it looks amazing. I'm just thinking about other things that I use, because obviously that thing around creating content. Another tool that I share a lot of the time that I use is a thing called Co-Schedule Headline Analyzer. It's like an American thing. And what this does is it enables you, me, all of us to make sure that our headlines are written well. Because if we're creating content for YouTube, for podcasts, for blogs, emails, actually it's that headline that captures people's attention. So you could spend all day creating an amazing video. If you've given it a shonky headline and nobody clicks and watches it, then all that time is wasted. So this free tool, the Co-Schedule Headline Analyzer, because it's American with a Z, it gives you a score out of 100 of how clickable its headline is, and it gives you ways to improve it. Now, I've been writing blog content for like 7 or 8 years now, but I still use it every time I write a blog because I still can be improving my headlines. So I think that's a really good tool, and you can pay for it as well, and you can get extra SEO stuff. But just using these tools to learn how to create that better content, craft it better, make it more clickable. You know, you don't want people scrolling past your stuff. You want them paying attention and clicking. So yeah, Co-Schedule Headline Analyzer, one of my favorite top tips.
Exactly. I remember you showing me that a while ago and I'd forgot about it. So thank you for reminding me.
Pleasure.
And I think getting on to like content creation as well. So Canva, if you've not heard of Canva, like where have you been? Like Canva, free versions, a paid version as well. I would probably even pay for it for the amount of tools. So in my group coaching club, all this month we've been going over creating content. We spent a whole session on Canva, and the power of it is absolutely amazing. So this is from someone so I'm not a designer, right? Let's just put that out there at all. But I do create all of my own content. I create the assets for these things, etc. Now, I've come from a Photoshop background. Now, I used to use Photoshop for everything. So designing websites, changing everything, doing flyers. Photoshop nowadays is not the right tool for the job. So fantastic, but the name's on the tin, right? It's for editing photos. There's loads and loads of benefits to something like Canva. Again, it's all cloud-based. You can resize to any size. And it's just super easy to use. So if you're stuck in the old school like I was, of like, oh, well, I know how to use Photoshop. It's great. It's brilliant. There are much better tools out there now. So it's always good to evaluate, are there better things out there? So me to shift over to Canva was quite a big, it wasn't necessarily a learning curve, but it was quite difficult for me to let go of Photoshop. I've not touched Photoshop for years now, still pay for it, which is ridiculous. So maybe I need to get rid of that. So yeah, Canva for content. So what I didn't realize, Canva will do static content and also videos as well. Basic video editing is in there and audio. So yeah, there are other better video tools, but for the basic stuff, like if you want to put headlines on a video, top and tail them, etc., you can do it all. And I didn't realize. So yeah, Canva is fantastic. So that's a hot tool.
Yeah, I love that because it's kind of made designers out of all of us a little bit, because it's got all those templates and you can just drop your own branding in and your own fonts and all of that stuff and your own images and kind of make it look like you. When I first started my business, so my partner's a concept artist for games and film, and I asked him to show me Photoshop and he just laughed in my face and said, no way. So then when I discovered Canva, I was like, yay, I can create something that looks semi-good with the limited design visual skills that I've got. Exactly. I also wanted to share some of the tools that I use to create the podcasts and that we use. So one of the things that Amy and I use to record our podcast, because this one is recorded in StreamYard, so that's another tool that we're literally using now to stream these things live and record the audio and video, is Audacity. So that's a really great free tool that you can download to your computer and will record audio. So I record my hypnosis tracks on there. I record the podcast stuff on there. And so I found that to be the best thing. So if you want to get into recording audio for whatever reason, Audacity, really good free tool. Lots of tutorials on YouTube of how to improve your audio and, do all the tweaks and things. I probably use like 1/10 of what I could use in there because I'm not an audio buff, but it's quite simple to get started with and use. So Audacity is something that if you want to get into audio, that would be the way I go down. That's the route.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's another good one. So I've got a couple of ones for video and then general organization as well. So Descript is my favorite single tool for editing video. If you have not tried it, I can't tell you how good this tool is. So if you want to edit video, you record a video and you put it onto Descript. And what Descript will do, it will almost create a Word document side by side. You've got your video there and a Word document there. You edit the video by editing the document. So like, you know, Debbie swears a lot. So if we record something and Debbie says, oh, I fucked up there, you just highlight I fucked up there, hit delete, the video's edited. It's magical. Absolutely magical. There's loads of other tools on there for there's so many things you can do on it. So really, really good thing. And for project management as well, I use Trello. Trello,
yes, I love Trello.
Trello for collaboration. And if you've not used Trello before, you're overwhelmed by it. Think of it just like a whiteboard, and you stick on Post-it notes, and you've got them in lists, and you can just move them about. But you can attach as much information into that Post-it note as you want. So you can attach images, you can attach links to web pages, etc. And the tool, Kay, was called Descript. So yeah, like script, but descripting it. And there's a free version of it, and I use the paid version, but the free one is perfectly good.
Ali's asking, is there any good tutorials for Canva that you can recommend? I reckon there's tons on YouTube, but it's super simple. It's really simple. The good thing about Canva is it has all of the sizing of all the different social media platforms in there. So if you need to make a Facebook header, it's already sized up. If you need to make an Instagram post, it's already sized up. So you pick the size of the thing that you want to make, and then it comes up with lots of already designed loveliness. So you can click on that and then just change the font, the color, a bit like a Word document, really. You're just pulling down a drop-down box of fonts, or you're just changing the font size, or you can start from scratch and start to design your own stuff. But I just start having a play. You can't break it. It's free. You can try it for free. So for Ali, I just spend like half an hour, just go and make a Canva account and just start having a fiddle about. Ali said we can swap that for our Reiki. Yeah, Ali, you give me some Reiki, I'll teach you Canva. There you go. That's the swap. Woohoo!
I'm going to go shameless plug in here as well. So I run a weekly coaching club. It's called the Get Shit Done Club. And each month, each month we pick a topic. This topic is all around content creation. So last week, which was recorded, which you'll be able to watch back, did a full thing going through Canva where you can work through and join in. This week we're doing Descript, and then we're going through all the different things of content creation throughout August. So if you want to join that, do get in touch and I will send you some details. But yeah, really super cool club with some super cool people in, and me.
Super cool.
So what other tools have we got there, Doodah? What other things are on your massive list?
Other things on here are things like, there's a tool that I love called, it's the weirdest name ever, Nibbler Silk Tide.
Oh, sounds good. Never heard of it.
Nibbler Silk Tide. And essentially you put your URL into it, and it will tell you what you need to improve on your website to get it listed up in the Google rankings. So it will tell you like how good is your image tagging, how good is your social media links, how good are links out, are there any broken bits on your website? So the Nibbler Silk Tide is a really good tool for kind of looking at how healthy your website is. Sounds a bit of 50 Shades. The Nibbler Silk Tide.
I thought the same thing, Kay, but you said it, so that's good. There's been loads of watch this back. There's been some good innuendos in this one today. I've had to bite my tongue.
The other thing, thinking about content that I've got down here, is a tool called Small PDF. Which sounds a little bit boring. Maybe it has some innuendos, but what I love about the Small PDF tool is that I have created years worth of workshops on Canva.
Right.
And I make them into PDFs, and then I can use the Small PDF tool to nick other bits of workshops and mash them together and then put them as one PDF. So it enables me to mash PDFs together, essentially, which has saved me so much time in not having to kind of recreate workshops. But you're laughing so much. But it's a really good tool. It's like... we can mash up PDFs. So the Small PDF tool... It's a winner.
Just stop saying it.
Somebody on LinkedIn said stop it, and so is Kay.
I've completely lost my train of thought. There was what tools I was going to give you.
It's so easy to please, Bertie.
Okay, right, okay. Back into character. So there's another.
Come on, Bertie, you can do it.
Oh,
You can
this
do it.
is the first time. This is the first. We've never lost it before, have we? We've never lost it. Right.
I won't say the word.
So noise cancelling sounds boring. I could probably do it now. So there is a tool, a free tool called Krisp, and it's called Krisp with a K. Sits on your computer. If you're ever on can you hear my dog barking? I've not turned it on. I should have turned it on.
Yeah.
Can't do it now.
So this is an example of why we need it.
It'll
So
just,
what is it called?
well, this could be a live. This could be a live. Right, Krisp. I've not turned it on.
Yeah.
Basically, if I had Krisp installed now, I could flick that on and it would just cancel that noise out altogether. Like I've been on workshops and people have sat with dogs next to them barking, interrupting the thing, and you turn it on and it just turns it off. It's a free tool, noise cancellation. So really, really fantastic. So if you work from home and you've got a noisy family environment like I have in this live demonstration, then yeah, that will cancel out all that noise. So Krisp is a fantastic, fantastic tool.
Spell it out again.
So it is, I'll put links to all of these things that we spoke about in the comments. So Krisp is I'm reading it because I can't spell, KRISP. And that's it. And yeah, mine's disabled because it needed updating. So that's why I couldn't turn it on.
So I think we need to end because we've gone 21 minutes. But
we've gone well over today. It's your fault.
Who would have thought that business tools would create so much joy and laughter on a Friday morning?
Yeah, who knew? Who knew?
I love it. Okay, well, join us next week for more fun and frolics in a business sense.
Yes, exactly. So we'll, well, if you've watched us, thank you very much. Thank you very much for all your comments today. And if you're listening on the podcast, because it's now a podcast as well, then yes, thank you. I don't even know how to end it. Right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, Dina. See you all soon.